Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Mattel Collector Thundercats subscription figure service. We're looking today at Mumm-Ra. Mumm-Ra was the incentive figure for signing on to the yearly, and sadly not going to be a year now, but the Thundercats subscription service. Every single month, you got yourself a new figure, and the incentive was this guy right here. I think he would have been a perfect fit for an incentive figure, and now that he has arrived, can't wait to get this guy opened up. He comes in somewhat the same mailer box as the other Thundercats that we got. Now granted, when you do get these, they're not necessarily mailer boxes because they do come still inside a cardboard box, but this is the outer box that you're going to get. Same as the other Thundercats, except the crest front is different, representing that of Mumm-Ra, featured on the side with some fantastic artwork. I don't know what I would like to get that on, maybe a t-shirt or something like that, but that's great artwork. Nothing on the back. On the other side, his tomb with sarcophagus. Then we can go ahead and open up the box, dump out the figure, and there we have Mumm-Ra right there. He is still coming inside the clamshell box. It's not really so much a clamshell, but an open window box there, featuring the Sight Beyond Sight lino down below and the outline impression there of the Sword of Omens. Mumm-Ra comes with his staff. It looks like he also comes with the handle for possibly that double-bladed sword of his. Also comes with a pair of interchangeable hands, and he comes with an alternate cloak if you want to have the cloak more closed. I can already tell you, this figure is the reasoning why I would have got this wave. I was so looking forward to this guy. I don't know how much he's going to be afterwards, especially with the line not really going to be surviving past these figures here. But on the back, your read-up says this mysterious creature, shrouded in a robe, lives in the Black Pyramid, in the dark corners of Third Earth, his native home. Mumm-Ra spends most of his time pensively watching the Thundercats in his larger-than-life bubble cauldron. Possessing a strong and sharp mind, Mumm-Ra, by contrast, has a body that is weak and feeble, so his survival depends on him returning to his sarcophagus each day. However, he does more than just rest in his tomb. While he serves 4 ancient spirits of evil, they have granted him with the immortality. Mumm-Ra, with his intelligence and cunning, is the mastermind of the mutants, controlling them to do his bidding in defeating the Thundercats. A good read-up. Again, this comes to us from the Thundercats Classic line, the monthly subscription line. And then there's an advertisement, MattelCollector.com, where collectors are king, www.mattelcollector.com. There's your packaging aside. Spot's going to take a break and get this guy opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Thundercats Classics Mumm-Ra. There's more heading away, guys. Don't go anywhere. Now that we have Mumm-Ra out of packaging, let's get a better look at the figure by first having a look at some of the accessories that come included with him. For starters, he comes with his Mumm-Ra staff. A very cool looking staff. Love the sculpt of the skull, I guess like the demon's skull up at the top there. It's been painted in. You've got some very stark red eyes with red teeth. Even the nostrils are painted in a dark red, and the horns on either side. Very nice looking sculpt, I have to admit. Then as well, you get this, which to me, unless I'm mistaken, looks like parts of the Sword of Plundar. Of course, I say parts because it's missing its blades. It doesn't have the blades anywhere. If you remember, there was these jagged blades on either side of him. Instead, basically, you're only getting the handle portion of the Sword of Plundar. So my guess could only be that the long-term plan that Matty was planning for this was eventually we would get ourselves the giant behemoth Mumm-Ra, perhaps with the Sword of Plundar extended. Sort of what we would have gotten with like a He-Man line. You might have gotten maybe half a sword, Skeletor had the other half, and you put them together. Maybe by that, the regular smaller Mumm-Ra would have had the unbladed sword of Plundar. Then maybe the larger Mumm-Ra would have had the full bladed sword of Plundar. That's the only guess I could make. I mean, there's no holes or anything on it to indicate that blades could be in there or could have been attached. So I'm thinking that that's what I'm going with for the time being. Then, of course, you get yourself a series of interchangeable hands as well. The hands are kind of in a grabbing kind of claw gesture. I mean, one is suited for holding his staff. Actually, really both hands, the ones that are in his socket and this hand, are suited for holding the staff. Or, again, you could put the handle of the sword of Plundar into his hand. And you just have to usually just bend the fingers back. They are softer rubber. And then just put the sword into place. So you get something like that. I kind of feel, I don't know, I'm of two minds. I feel slightly robbed that we got this as the accessory. And then on top of that, I feel like, well, why didn't we just get the full sword as opposed to just the handle? Anyways, we can put those to the side. He does also have a closed robe as well. When you get him out of packaging, the packaged Mumm-Ra has the open cloak exposing his very frail, wrapped, mummified body, which looks awesome, I have to admit. But if this isn't your thing, simply just take the robe, tilt it forward, because you need to essentially get it over his chin, slide it around, and basically just bring it around to take it completely off of him. And there is Mumm-Ra sans la robe. Then you can go ahead and just fit the new robe over. It's a little more difficult getting this robe on him because there's not as much wiggle room to get it over his head. And again, you just have to keep kind of just wiggling it over until you finally get his head through the very, very small hole. A more logical solution to that problem as well is by simply just taking the head off completely and then fitting it through that little area and then pushing it down over the ball joint. The only downside to that is you may not be successful getting it set into the socket area of the neck by doing it this method, but it will save you a lot of fighting to try to get it into place. And there you have Mumm-Ra. Of the two, I actually, you know what, think I like this layout a little bit more. It fits more Mumm-Ra's idea of a cloaked, shrouded individual rather than this being a much more open look to him. So I'll probably end up displaying him like this. Let's have a look at some of those details. We'll bring the camera in and have a look at his face. While I feel like all the Thundercats fit exactly looking like the models that they had in the show, the character designs, Mumm-Ra, I think, is the most faithful, I think, to those designs. This looks like it was taken right out of the cartoon, complete with his red eyes, the very nice outlining, the black outlining around those eyes, and the very frail wrinkling that they've added to his face as well. The little bandages here, are separate pieces. Well, not separate pieces that you can remove them, but they are separate applianced pieces that have been added to the head, as you saw when we took the head off. All these additional wraps and stuff go a long way to make it look like he's been wrapped with these bandages rather than just having something that's been sculpted to his body. It's very successful. While I don't feel like all the areas are the most clean in the sense of how they've been painted, more importantly, when we get to like the feet portion of Mumm-Ra, it looks like they got a little just careless, or not careless, but they just stopped caring, I feel like, when they got to the foot area. The bandages look almost slightly incomplete. Like there's no real definitive line where they should start and stop. But I mean, it's a small gripe compared to how cool Mumm-Ra looks here. Again, just trying to get the head into the neck socket. He is small, as you could probably expect. In fact, we'll put him down here, and we'll bring in the likes of some of the other Thundercats figures that we've looked at already. 2 months back, I guess, we would have looked at Jackalman. The closest thing that we have are the two villains for the show, both Mumm-Ra and Jackalman. Then we had just recently looked at Mumm-Ra. Get her to stand. There we go. And then, of course, the one that started it all, we got ourselves Lion-O. Now, while Mumm-Ra is shorter than Lion-O in the cartoon, he is shorter than Lion-O also in figure form. Lion-O should still be taller. I don't want to sound like a broken record by continuing to say this, but Lion-O should have been taller. It is sad, unfortunately, though, being such a big Thundercats fan, that ultimately this is what we're going to be getting. The only one that's really missing here is Panthro. But this really makes up the Thundercats subscription service until we hopefully get news, fingers crossed, that we are going to get a picked up line by Super 7. Possibly as well, something that they could have also looked at doing too, is that each of these figures could have also done the same route as the DC Multiverse figures by each having a component piece to build the larger Mumm-Ra. Mumm-Ra could have probably come with the torso. Each of these could have come with a corresponding limb or head, and then that could have also sold this line as something that collectors would have picked up, because then they could have built themselves a full-size Mumm-Ra. It still scratches my head. I scratch my head thinking about this. I don't know why these just didn't hit retail stores. For anybody that would argue these wouldn't sell, I mean, for the countless multiverse figures that have hit store shelves, the Batman v Superman figures that are still there, Suicide Squad and whatnot, why would they not have ventured out to get these released in retail stores? Makes absolutely no sense. I certainly would have picked them up, and I can probably speak for a lot of other collectors as well that would have picked up all of these figures as they continued releasing more Thundercats waves. Just makes no sense. Mattel, I don't know what you do sometimes. Let's move these figures out of the way. We'll move Jackalman out of the way. Lion-O, we'll move him out of the way. When it comes to Mumm-Ra's articulation, you know what we'll do is I'll take the head back off. The other nitpick I could probably make about Mumm-Ra is how this particular robe is a lot more difficult to get over him versus the other one. Like, they don't give much clearance at all for the head opening there of that robe. Just going to put that right there. It's a sad sight to see for Mumm-Ra to be looking like this, but this is probably the easiest way that I can showcase his posability. Mumm-Ra's head is on a ball joint. You get a full rotation right there. Up and down motion. Arms hinge out. Now you have to be careful when you hinge the arms out. As you can see on the back of the figure, the bandages are attaching one arm to the other arm. So you can't simply just move the arms forward and back, because when you do that, you're essentially pulling on the other arm. I wish that they had these as maybe separate, because why would you want to limit posability for moving arms while pulling on the other arm? It just doesn't make much sense to me. He does have a swivel on the forearm though, a swivel on the hand, as well as that hinge back and forth. He has a swivel on the waist, forward, back, and out on the legs, a bend at the knee, and a hinge on the foot. Let's go ahead and get him back into his robe so he doesn't feel like he's naked. I guess he wouldn't be naked because he's still got his robe on. And once again, put the head into the hood. There we go. The few nitpicks I can make about this figure, one of which being it's difficult as all you-know-what to try to get the head into the hood when you're using this cloak. The other cloak's not so bad. This cloak is difficult to get the head in. What you probably saw by me putting the head in manually, likely your best route to go with. That's a small little nitpick. The arms being connected to one another could probably be another nitpick, but Mumm-Ra's not one that you're going to be posing in some outrageous, dynamic pose. You're probably going to just be posing him like what we see right here, and probably putting the staff in his hand, of course, changing out the hands as well. Also, don't know why we didn't get a full sort of Plundar. I'm sure they must have had some logical reason for it. Despite the negatives, this is a great figure. This is actually the type of Mumm-Ra I wish we could have gotten when I was younger, when they released that mail-away Mumm-Ra, which didn't look anything like Mumm-Ra. This is by far the best figure from this line, and it's bittersweet for basically where this line is heading. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we can get the line to continue and we'll get more great figures, including a giant Mumm-Ra. And that's the one, hopefully, one figure that we can get in this line. Today's Toy Spot, we're looking at the Thundercats Classics. This was the subscription service. And we're looking today at the incentive figure, Mumm-Ra, the ever-living. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.